Hey, welcome back to our podcast. A year of magical learning. I think it's been a few days, but we're back, and I think today we are doing book 41. It's one of my favorite book as well. It's a more beautiful question. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to do this one actually. The It's funny when you said been a couple days off. We should have started recording the pre-chat that we had before this, because it was about, the year of magical learning is all about learning, right? It's all
Hmm.
about understanding yourself and growing, and then when you get pushed to a limit of, how do you maintain that balance, and how do you keep leveraging your values to be the person you want to be, and to perform the actions you want to perform. And there's a reason why we had a couple of days off. Other things got in the way that shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, lessons that can be learned, right? Like I
Right.
think, both would rather be doing this stuff, and focusing on our values every day, but unfortunately we couldn't. So I wish we would have captured that chat beforehand to get, because that's what this whole journey is about. But on to the
Right.
book. So as you mentioned, one of your favorite books, also one of my favorite books as well. It's a book called A More Beautiful Question: The Power of Inquiry to Spark Breakthrough Ideas by Warren Berger. So the book is written by this author named Warren Berger. He shows us the powerful forces of igniting change in business and in our daily lives is simple. It's the unappreciated tool. It's asking questions. It's asking the why, right?
Hmm.
One of the stats that he lays out in this book that's always just blown me away, and I wrote it here, was kids ask studies show that some like 4-year-old kids ask up to as many as 200 to 300 questions a day. And like that number, like I honestly, it's almost unfathomable to me to think that. I feel like I ask a lot of questions these days, and I'm like, 300 questions, like that's a lot.
Yeah,
Like who,
that's
like, I mean, that's insane. I mean, you have 4 kids, and I'm sure you've gone through this.
yes.
Is that around the right number?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah,
every single moment that they talking to me, it's like a bombardment of questions.
it's unreal. I mean, and there's something to it, right? He said also, kids on average will ask 40,000 questions between the ages of 2 and 5. Like that, it's just insane. Like you said, a bombardment of questions all day, every day. And I was going on to talk about like just kids in general. Like it's who can blame them? Like, I mean, I've like watched Luca these days. Like everything's new to him. It's like everything that you see that we just take for granted as adults. Like I don't know, the littlest things. I'm just looking at my office right now. It's like, what, like, why do I have an office? Like, what is this room that I'm even in? You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Like, why do we have homes? Like, why do we have a yard, and maybe some other people don't have a yard? And why does this like? I mean, there's a million things that just like you could just spend 5 seconds looking around you and going, how did we invent electricity? Like, who discovered this light bulb? Like, how does this thing even work? How did they make this little frame above my head to be able to like pitch it a certain way to put windows in? I mean, what's a window? Like,
Right.
I mean, there's just a million questions. If I'm thinking like a kid, everything is new and interesting, and you're like, it's just something you just want to be curious and explore. So unfortunately, as adults, as we all know, as you get older, there's something along the way where we stop asking a lot of questions, and we're told to like know things. Like you're supposed to know how to do your job and be really good at it. You're supposed to know how to be a responsible parent. You're supposed to know how to manage finances. Like, what the hell is finances? Like, what is money? Like, what are these things that we're supposed to become experts at whatever we do? And somewhere along the way, I don't know if you're like me, but I found myself not asking a whole lot of questions anymore, and finding myself telling other people what I know, as I got older.
Hmm.
And Obviously my whole life was changed with Amelia, and ever since then, a lot of that journey has been about asking a lot of questions. When everything kind of got taken away from me, I was left with really nothing other than questions at that point in time, and that's where my journey restarted, with reinvigorating the love and the of seeing the world differently, and questioning. And that's where the love of reading comes into play, where I always am getting all these new ideas and all these fun things and more new questions to talk about and think about and write about. And man, like when you act like a kid again, that's what the reflection title is be a kid again. like when you go back to that fountain of youth of just asking questions and seeing things differently and not just taking things for status quo anymore. Like, I don't know why it just feels, I don't know, like incredible. Number one, number two, like it's it just feels like you always have something new to go do and to go
Mhm.
tackle and to learn about. And it just makes life really, really fun and worth living. So my final, thought was, keep asking a lot of questions, and eventually maybe you'll stumble upon that one beautiful question that'll just keep you captivated for the rest of your life. My personal beautiful question is, something I have been working through for the past 2 years, and I'll be working through for the rest of my lifetime. And that's how can I, imagine my life with my daughter and the actions that I do every single day, even though she's not here, and to incorporate her into my life and to try to, live a life of values that she'd be proud of, and that we can both kind of share together. And that's a question that I'm going to be trying to answer for the rest of my life. It's always, it's all I have at this point in time, but it's also, something that feels really special to be able to still share with my daughter every single day. So
Mhm.
that's my thoughts here. But
Yeah.
what say you?
When I say that, that is a beautiful question. I mean, even from my perspective, that's a beautiful question.
Well, thank
Like
you.
the
Yeah.
question, like, and I think, for me, when you able to question, you feel like you're free. As a kid, and one of the things that I've have noticed is that as a kid, we are always sociable, very friendly, very
Yeah.
extrovert. And then when we grew up, then we become this shy introvert person because we are conditioned. In some instances, we are basically shunned from asking the questions.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like when you have a questions and you ask people around, the thing is when you ask a kid questions, they will give you a very creative answer. Basically, whatever they know, they will give you. And then when you ask an adult, right? Adult, they get um most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, they will get um like annoyed, and they will
Right.
tell you to shut up, right? And eat your hamburgers or whatever. It's
Right.
just like I think in the book itself, when the kid was asking her so many questions and they were at McDonald's, and she said, well, just shut up and eat your burger. And
Right.
that's to me what shuns the kid. And when they grow up, they replaces the spirit of asking the questions with the assumptions. And this is what we do as adults. We make assumptions all the time.
Yep.
We assume this or that and other. And what assumption does, it's making as out of you an assumption.
Yep. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so to me, I think, one of the insight that we see from this is that we can actually change the trajectory and the path of a kid by shunning them from asking the questions.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even for the kids, like the Toyota method, where they talking about lean manufacturing, that comes from asking the why.
Yeah.
Asking the why 5 times. Why did this happen? Well, this happened because of that. Well, why did that happen? And then so the why, the asking the why is a kid's questions. It's like, well, why? Why does the sun rises? The sun rises because the earth turned, right? Why
Right.
did the earth turn? Right?
Good question.
You
I
know
don't
what I
know.
mean? And so the thing is, at the end of basically there is a mental model that basically kind of like answer the questions in terms of, you want to think from a first principle, meaning what is the true reason or cause for
Mhm.
whatever that you're observing. And to me, a lot of the businesses and a lot of any businesses or any adult that's asking a question need to know or examine the reason, the real root cause of whatever that is saying, whether that's a medical disease, right? Because if you're coughing, isn't because you because something is causing you to have something in your lungs. So
Right.
why you cough? It's not because something is in your lung. That's the reason why you cough. But the thing is, if you say, well, you go on trying to suppress a cough without fixing the issue that causes the cough, or you're going to continue to cough indefinitely.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, a bit of a questions, it's one of those things where we need to get back to that old days and old spirit of explorations, discovery. And this to me is when we are becoming
It
free
changes
and
everything.
creative, right?
Yes,
And
it
able
changes
to,
everything.
yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like, when as I learn these concepts, my approach is always, start with a beginner's mind. And my favorite beautiful question in what I do now is, will it work? Because I'm a builder by choice, and
Right.
so everything I want to do says, will it work? And I would,
Yeah, you test me that all the time. Whenever I come up with a new idea, you're like,
will it
like,
work?
yeah. I was like,
But the thing
you,
is,
you
I'm
asked me
not.
like 30 questions. I don't know. Like, let's just see. Who
Right.
knows? I
Yes.
keep bringing these ideas from all my own questions. Damn it! Like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Right. Right. But the question allows you to, I guess, be creative and be free, and test and experiment and have fun.
Yes.
And to me,
Like,
that is a beautiful question.
that's the key, the having fun. Like, it's so friggin' boring knowing everything all the time. Like, I don't,
Well,
like, I mean,
assuming you do, because we
well,
don't
right,
shit.
right. Well, sorry. Yes. Agreed. I meant like, change take my new hat off of like the life that we live now and put it back on my old person hat, like where you feel like you kind of know what life's all about, and like what path you're on and what you need to do every day to be successful or whatever it is. Like, it's so boring. Like, I mean, like, it's so not like, you look at kids are never not having fun. Like, I mean, I literally can plop Luca into any room and immediately he's like, well, what is that? Like, and I'm just gonna go over there and check it out, like, and I'm gonna get into it, like, and ask, physically ask questions with my body, think through like, oh, what if I turn it this way? What if what happens if you put my hand through it? What happens if I eat it? What happens if I do this?
Yes.
You're I mean, you can tell he's just having a blast all the time,
Right.
and it's because his mind is racing with, with questions and new things and new concepts and new ideas, and that's what makes us happy, man. Like, I mean, it really is what makes us happy. Like, it's a that's it, this whole process of living my own values, and you live in your own values every single day. It's a cyclical thing of asking more questions. It's reflecting on those questions, thinking, then going to do some stuff, getting more questions brings to more ideas, leads to more thinking, leads to more new things to do, leads to more new questions, leads to more thinking, leads to more research, leads to more learning. Like, it's like a never ending loop of fun, like you're always right on the edge of like, like of just, having a blast at all times. Like, I mean, I was flying home from on a flight today, and I'm like looking around the plane, and I was listening to an audiobook, and I had like 30,000 thoughts going through my mind, and I was like, I wrote them all down on the about Clubany, basically, of like, like 5 other different ways that we could apply how we're trying to apply, stuff. And I'm thinking about the next reflection from this book that I'm reading right now of like, oh man, what do I want to share from this one? And like, how does that equate to what I'm trying to do? And how can we apply that to here? And it's just fun. Like, it's way better than just sitting on a flight, listening to the same old song over and over again as you just, twiddle your thumbs, waiting to land to go back to your boring, life. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's about existing versus living, right?
Yes. That's a great way to sum it up. I love it. Any other final thoughts?
So my final thought is that, when you find and able to ask questions and be free and ask questions, you may have well found the secret of happiness. I'm just quoting you.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know that that's that far off, but we'll see. Then again, we don't know anything, right?
Yes.
So we'll leave the question for everybody out there listening. What's your beautiful question? What's the one that you're going to go back to the well to for the rest of your life? And honestly, if I had to sum up a beautiful question, the best beautiful question you could ask is your purpose. Whatever that purpose is how can you live that purpose? Like that should be everybody's beautiful question, I feel like. But you got to find that first, though.
Right.
Well, We will see y'all tomorrow, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.